Hey out there, legal warriors. Everyone should watch this video. I'm going to cover 4 must-dos if you are ever in the unfortunate situation of being charged with a crime. This applies to everybody, so stay tuned. This is the video for you. My name is Attorney Lance Fryrear, and I'm a defense attorney in Linwood, Washington. My law firm's been defending people charged with crimes for more than 20 years. And I'm putting out these videos to help educate the public. So if you find this useful, please like and please subscribe. More people will get the help they need. And I'm just going to jump right into it. I can certainly come up with way more than 4, but for this video, there are definitely 4 must-dos if you get charged with a crime. What's number 1? The first must-do is quit talking. Do not talk to anyone about the crime except an attorney. And if you happen to be in a jail cell, do not talk about the facts of the case on the jail phone. If you get arrested for something and you're trying to call to get bailed out or call to talk to a loved one, what's the first thing they're going to say? Oh my God, what happened? And especially if it's a mother or something, you know, we want to tell our mother or our father what happened, but do not do it. If you tell them what happened on the phone, the prosecutor can just hit a few buttons and listen to everything you said. And under the evidence rules in Washington State, whatever you say is an admission. It's an exception to the hearsay rule. So number 1 is quit talking on the jail phone or to others. If you talk to others about what happened and it gets back to the prosecutor, that is a bad thing. Okay, there's spousal incompetency and certain types of rules and exceptions, but you want to basically save what happened to talk to an attorney or some particular loved one you totally trust that isn't going to turn against you. So number 1, as far as must-dos if you get arrested, is quit talking. Number 2, it seems elementary, but you'd be surprised. Figure out when you're supposed to be in court. Okay, if you're out of custody, if you get accused of a crime, it's not always obvious when you're supposed to be in court. And why do I want you to figure out when you're supposed to be in court? Because if you miss a court date, you get a warrant for your arrest and you're going to get put in jail. You're going to get arrested. Or you might have to post a bunch of money you don't want to spend on this to quash the warrant to stay out of jail. Okay? That type of situation. And it's not that simple always. If you get arrested and released, the officers assume a bunch of stuff. They might say X, Y, or Z, and you got no clue where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be, or if you're supposed to be there. Even more complicated, sometimes you're in jail overnight, a judge will come in and do paper court, which means release you without a court hearing, and the jailer doesn't give you a court notice. That just happened in a case I had in Linwood, where I had people that were in jail, they got released over the weekend, and I knew from experience and talking to my connections, thank you, public defender, who helped me out on that one, that there was likely court the next morning, but they had no notice of it. And that particular person needed to fly out of state, and they were about ready to do that, but I stopped them. So if they didn't get some help, there would have been a warrant for that person's arrest, even though it wasn't their fault because the jail didn't give them the paperwork. And jails do the best they can, but mistakes happen. So how do you figure out the court date? Well, hopefully you call a legal professional, a defense attorney, and call in many as you need to until it sounds like you find someone who knows what they're talking about for that area. I can tell you a lot about Snohomish County and King County. Can't tell you anything about Spokane because that's not where we practice. My office is in Linwood. So that's number 2. The number 3 must do if you're arrested for a crime, in my opinion, is try to think about what happened. And what I might do is write attorney-client privilege on something and write down what I remember happening, because you're going to forget. You're going to forget what happened during this particular case. And I want you to write attorney-client privilege on it so that way if it gets in the wrong hands, hopefully it can be excluded as privilege because you meant that for whoever your attorney was going to be. Going to write down who the witnesses might be, the specifics about you. Remember what you said to the officers, what the officers said to you, to the best of your recollection, because it's going to help you. And also it might help you in the attorney finding process because you're going to be able to get that to an attorney more quickly than necessarily telling the whole story. I always appreciate it if before an interview with a potential new client, if I can get some type of description of what happened, because it makes it easier for me to ask better questions to find out what happened from the potential client's point of view. And, I don't want you posting stuff online and doing stuff like that. This is just for your own purposes. So you can remember it, and it also will hopefully help you share information with whatever attorney that you end up working with to help you out of this situation. The fourth must do, and this is an obvious one, but it's also one of the most important, is get a criminal defense attorney. Do not try to represent yourself. Not many people probably think they should represent themselves, but we still run into those people of, hey, I can just say what happened. It's like a traffic ticket. I can walk in and just say what happened, and the judge will make a decision, and I can go home. It's no big deal. Well, it is a big deal. A criminal case starts with an arraignment. Most courts won't even take a guilty plea even if you try to, because you can go to jail. They'll tell you need to get an attorney for a reason, because it's super, super serious. So, look around. Look at reviews, look at attorneys that are generally practicing, within a county or two of the area where your problem is, and make some calls. And then pay attention to the questions the attorney asks. Pay attention to what they seem to know about the system and how that court works, because, as I say again and again, criminal law is so local. Do not trust lawyer Google. What people write online are a bunch of scare tactics and generic stuff. The results in one court will be totally different than the results in a court down the street, based upon who the prosecuting authority is and the culture of that system. Each culture is different. I like to tell people lately examples, hey, you could have French onion soup at one restaurant and French onion soup at another restaurant. They're both French onion soup, but they're made totally different, and you might have totally different opinions of how good they are to you, and that type of stuff. The same way with criminal courts. In one criminal court, domestic violence cases might be treated one way, and another one they might be treated another. Your attorney needs to know the difference, so they can have you do the right things for your particular case, give you the best chance at the best result. Also pay attention, does the criminal attorney ask you how you're doing? Highly rated criminal attorneys can get good results, but how you feel along the way is just as important, because you're not hopefully going to hire someone who's terrible. You're going to hire someone who's good, but also you want to pay attention to how they emotionally and otherwise support you along the way, how easy they are to communicate with, how empathetic they are, do they judge you, those type of things, because criminal cases take a long time, right? It's probably going to take 6 months to a year for most criminal cases to resolve. And you want to feel supported through that, because it's not going to be easy. You will get through it. You're going to get beyond it if you're charged with a crime, but pay attention to that. So those are the 4 must-dos if you get charged with a crime. There's a whole bunch more out there, but I'm going to keep it to 4 for length in this situation. So if you found this video useful, please like and please subscribe. More people get the help they need. And more importantly, if you have a criminal problem in Washington State, feel free to give my office a call. We'll listen to what happened, we'll identify a way forward, and we will be there for you. Thank you.